I'm Leslie Griles. I'm the Fractional Executive Director of Strategic Services here at the King Agency. If you aren't familiar with King Agency, we are a mid-sized marketing agency with full-service communication services at any scale. We're based in Richmond, but we have offices in Atlanta and Virginia Beach. Today, we are talking with Mitch Heath, who is the co-founder of Teamworks, which is an all-in-one operating system for sports, and they are powering elite sports teams worldwide. So Mitch has been with the company from the very beginning. He's helped them scale from startup to literally one of the most sought after systems all around the world. So we're going to talk today about a lot of different things, NIL, how sports marketing is changing over the next decade, maybe some fun things that we're going to be seeing with brands. And so, Mitch, thanks for being with us today.
Good to be here with you, Leslie. I appreciate it. For anyone listening, I grew up in Virginia near Richmond originally, so it's always nice to connect with a firm that's from my home turf. Yeah, long story short, we started Teamworks out of Duke University. So I was there as an undergrad, and our founder, Zach Maritas, played football at Duke, had the experience that a lot of athletes had, which was the athlete being kind of the center of the picture, trying to perform their best, being surrounded by a lot of people that need their attention, whether that be coaches, whether that be medical professionals, academic advisors, so on. And it became very clear that all those professionals that Duke was spending a lot of money on didn't have a way to work together, didn't have a common communication, a common way of collaborating. And so that was really our first mission, was how do we take a sporting organization and just get everyone on the same page in service of those athletes that they are working to grow in the weight room, help with their nutrition, help them graduate, all the different services provided. So that was really the start. And it didn't take us long to figure out that if Duke had these problems, there were probably some other teams around the world that had the same problems. And so we scaled up really through the 2010s and entered beyond collegiate athletics, entered the NFL and MLB, other professional sports in the US. And then my personal story in 2020 decided it's time for us to start expanding internationally. So I had to wait out a pandemic, but when borders opened, moved over to Madrid in 2021, then up to London in 22, and helped us kind of launch into European football, rugby, cricket. And so now we're proud to be a global company. Our mission is to serve every elite athlete worldwide. And we do that with a suite of products. So what started as the original communication and collaboration layer for elite sports organizations has now turned into a complete operating system, serving them in really all areas that touch the athlete day to day.
What was the biggest barrier to entry? Biggest pain point barrier?
Yeah, this will resonate with anyone in an industry that has been undergoing digital transformation over the past decade or two. Sports was really behind technologically a few decades ago. When we compare sports to healthcare or finance or construction or any number of other industries, sports was a little late to the game in terms of adopting technology. So a lot of work was being done manually. There were administrative, laborious tasks that tech hadn't entered to streamline yet. And so when we first launched Teamworks, we were really creating a category for the first time. And a lot of what we had to do was not so much even market Teamworks or our solutions or how we could help, but we had to start by identifying the problem and helping the industry see, hey, we've been spending a lot of time and effort doing X task, Y task manually for a long time. It's time to solve that problem, and technology can help us solve it. So really in the early days, that was our biggest barrier, as opposed to any, market forces or competition or any of those other maybe traditional barriers. Ours was just creating the category, creating the helping bring the need to the forefront of leaders' minds in the industry to be prioritized.
You weren't making a better mousetrap, you were making the mousetrap.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, what do you think what are some of the trends that we're going to see over the next, 12 to 24 months in marketing, sports marketing? What's that going to
Well, if we had 3 hours, we could fill it. Because sports is changing so fast. I mean, it's such a fun time to be involved in this industry, and I get to do some mentorship with people in college, people coming out of grad school that are looking to get into the industry. And it's like, couldn't be a better time because there's so much disruption and so many new opportunities being created, not just in sports marketing, but in sports betting and the way that teams are structured, really every aspect of the industry. But on the whole, to give us kind of the macro level of what's happening in sports right now, in the past decade or so, I would say we've been in a period of really rapid growth. We've had a ton of new startups enter the space. We've had incredible new investments from PE and VC. We've had incredible investment in women's sports. We've seen the entrance of sports betting and that being legalized state by state across the U.S. We've seen incredible international growth. What's happening in cricket in India is unbelievable. What Formula One with their Netflix series that then kind of cascaded into golf and tennis and NASCAR and so on. So if I could talk about the last decade, I would say growth is the word. As we look at kind of the next 10 years, we're now starting to see the trend of consolidation. And that's a good and healthy thing for our industry. And it's, again, what other industries have kind of been through this cycle a little earlier than sports. But what you're seeing now is instead of a ton of new startup investment, you're actually seeing more M&A. You're seeing firms merge, larger firms buy startups and bring their expertise into the fold. And you're seeing this on the team level too, with groups like City Football Group or Red Bull, where we've got multi-club ownership groups coming together. We've got more private equity coming in to buy either entire clubs or parts of clubs and build a portfolio of teams across either different sports or different leagues. So this trend of growth in a fragmented way and expansion that we've seen in the last decade is now shifting to growth in a more consolidated, logical way as the market naturally matures.
And consolidation also provides focus for marketers.
Right.
So that can be a really good thing as well, especially if you can look at it from all the different points of view. I love to look at it from brand partnership points of view, and pairing brands together, and if this brand had a baby, what would it look like, and who do you want to pair together? I think that's a really fun way to look at sports marketing.
I'm glad you used the word partnership, because I think that's entirely accurate for where the industry is going. I think when a market is fragmented and growing, and that's a good thing, there's new innovations, but there's not a lot of partnership in the early days, right? Everyone's coming up with their own ideas. Everyone's trying to do things their own way or a little bit better. And as natural consolidation happens, the industry shifts toward partnership, integration. How do we bring people together? How do we take the best idea from over here and the best idea over here and work together to deliver it to the market in the best possible way? So as a result of that partnership, you see efficiency go up. You see cost to consumers go down, right? They're not dealing with thousands of different vendors and groups that they're having to work with. They're maybe purchasing services and products from a smaller group of vendors, but those vendors are bringing together best in breed from what was a fragmented landscape 10 years prior.
Absolutely. And potentially efficiencies in marketing departments as well.
Yep, that's right. And you're seeing, I think you use the word focus. I see sports organizations refocusing in a healthy way now. So, as groups are looking at macroeconomic conditions, as they're looking at changes to regulation around NIL and player pay, it's becoming very clear we can't waste. We aren't necessarily going to have excess. Even if revenues continue to increase, which we all hope they do, we can't have costs increasing with them. The costs can't keep ballooning. And so you've got teams in particular at the elite level saying, we need to focus on what we do best. We are best at developing athletes and putting a great product on the field. That's our bread and butter. That's what a sports organization is meant to do. We aren't necessarily best at building technology, marketing, all the other kind of auxiliary services that there are experts out there, right? So we partner with someone like the King Agency, and we don't need to do all of our marketing in-house. There are experts out there that can do it better, faster, cheaper, and achieve our goals better. We partner with groups in the technology space that can speed up our work. We partner with groups that are experts in stadium and fan experience. Instead of trying to hire a whole fan experience team in-house, that puts a lot of weight on our salary budget. We might be able to partner, again, better, faster, cheaper, and get better results.
You mentioned NIL. Let's talk
Yeah.
a little bit about all the changes that have happened there over the last few years. I feel like it's been monumental and so fast, and just lots and lots of changes. I've been so fortunate to watch up close and personal the UVA women's swim team. They've been just incredible over the last few years, and those ladies have gotten some great partnerships going with brands. Talk about, your view and how all of that has changed. Are we at a point of stability? Are we going to see more changes? What's happening there?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, yes, we're going to see a lot more changes. I would say my primary statement on this topic is that we're in the middle of it, or maybe we're at the beginning of it. We're certainly not at the end. The industry is undergoing transformation as we speak, and there's more to come. There'll be news, every day for the next several years, probably. But my reflections on it, I think NIL has created an incredible opportunity, not just for athletes to monetize, but for the industry as a whole to find new ways of driving revenue, new ways to tell athletes stories, new ways to connect athletes with fans. I think that's the important part that sometimes gets missed is, we talk about money and who's the money going to and who's doing what deals, and that's all important. But what we miss is how are we actually using that to strengthen our industry, to strengthen sport, to strengthen the athletes we serve, the fans that we serve. And so when I look at the best NIL deals, I've gotten to work with athletes that have an incredible sense, even at a young age, if they're college athletes, have an incredible sense of their brand identity and who they want to be in the world and how they want to portray themselves and what values they want to stand for. And when they have that foundation, then they're much more likely to go out and do deals that are aligned with those values and that brand. And they start to tell their public story in a way that's authentic and real and connects with fans, as opposed to just, I'm a high profile athlete, I can slap my name on this product and they'll pay me to do it. That exists, and okay, that's fine. It's an opportunity to make a little money. But athletes that are being much more intentional and taking the time and putting forth the effort to find partners that tell their story the right way and connect with products and services that are aligned with their brand, I see them going a lot further. And I think having more, not only ability to make more money, but also having more impact on their team, their school, the quality of what's being produced as a whole.
Couldn't agree more. Authentic storytelling, consumers just connect with that so strongly, and content is needed everywhere. And the more transparent people are with their stories and their struggles just as much as they are their successes, the more consumers will connect with that, and then the brand that they are representing as well.
Especially as we think about sports marketing, I mean, I think the trend has become very clear that fans and the general public connect with human beings, right? So I'm not necessarily a Golden State Warriors fan, but I'm a big Steph Curry fan. I'm not necessarily a Yankees fan, but I'm a big Aaron Judge fan. I'm not necessarily a Pelicans fan, but I'm a huge Zion Williamson fan because of his connection to Duke. And so you start to get, particularly internationally, you get followings of individual athletes and fans that want to connect with their story. And then by extension, that lifts the team brand, and the team is able to monetize and sell jerseys, and the league benefits. And so it's this nice kind of virtuous cycle, but it all starts with that athlete is the key asset, their brand and their story. If we put that forward, and I think the NBA has done a fantastic job of that. They really get it. I think the MLB has really kind of woken up to that reality and has been putting some of their players at the forefront. And I think you'll see more leagues do that. And I don't think that just applies to the elite multi-billion-dollar leagues. I think that applies in local communities. So if, a UVA swimmer has a story that connects with the local population that the people of Charlottesville really relate to, and they want to come out to see his or her meets, fantastic. Let's promote that.
Mhm. The Olympics are right around the corner.
They are. I'm ready to get on a plane.
What are we going to see? What are the surprises going to be from a sports marketing perspective? Brands that are going to do some fun things.
Yeah, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'll be there in person. So I'm very excited about that, just to be on the ground and see it. I think we could continue down the line we were just talking about. I think you're going to see a lot of great athlete storytelling. I think they'll tap into that, and that's just such a good moment for the world, right? To hear the stories of people coming from everywhere. It's such a unifying event. I think you're going to see some pretty awesome applications of technology and the way those technologies are marketed. So I can't tell you a specific brand or a specific product. I don't have a bet on, but I think companies are going to run some experiments with VR, AR.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to run some experiments with new types of content. They're going to run experiments with, I think you saw it in Super Bowl commercials, I thought the Super Bowl, the set of commercials skewed heavily toward individual appearances, right? There were a lot of celebrity cameos. We had Tom Brady and Matt Damon in the same commercial. We had, all kinds of partnered pairings of individual celebrities, athletes, etc. I think you'll see that trend continue around the Olympics in a much more international, global way.
So what's next for Teamworks?
Yeah, Teamwork. Well, one, we want to just continue growing and serving every athlete we can. We've been intentional about the markets we enter, but there are still a lot of markets around the world that we want to make sure we bring our technology to. I said earlier that integration is the future for this industry, and it's very much the future for our company as well. So as we've acquired 12 companies in the past 2.5 years, I believe. So as we integrate those products into the operating system, we want to be able to deliver that to all of our clients in a unified way. We're excited about that. You probably will see more M&A activity. You'll see us building new products to round out that suite, and you'll see us doing experiments and investing in categories that may not exist yet, categories that maybe haven't been transformed digitally, where manual work is still occurring, or as new technology arises and it opens up opportunities for new product lines that didn't make sense 10 years ago. We want to make sure we're on the cutting edge and bringing those things to our clients as soon and as quickly and as efficiently as we possibly can.
I love it. How much are you all kind of surveying and talking to your clients and partners about, what they need and what their pain points are in their, kind of omnichannel communications, and what they need and what might be missing? Like, how do you solve for that?
Yeah, a ton. And we're talking to teams every day. That's the core of our function here. But it's interesting, as I talk to teams, one of the trends I'm seeing that I think will really transform the marketing approach is they're starting to bring what was previously siloed marketing efforts into a holistic brand approach. So, for example, university athletic department, they were marketing to their fans, they were marketing to ticket holders, they were marketing to premium seat holders, they were marketing to people that attended a VIP donor event, and they were kind of approaching each of those populations differently, and for good reason. Each of them has a different, set of needs and ways they want to engage. But I think groups are now taking a step back and saying, let's bring all this together. We've got one story, one brand, one image, one experience of working with X university or X team. Now, how do we cater that message to each of those populations to make sure they engage in the right way? And so you're getting this, what I think is probably a much healthier foundational brand, combined with I would say a more accurate or more effective personalization to each of the core audiences.
That is music to my ears from my seat at the table. Love that. Yes, that's fantastic. Okay, emerging brands.
Mhm.
Who should we be watching?
So what's happened in sports betting is amazing. You're going to see, FanDuel and their competitors are going to continue pouring a lot of money on this market, and they're going to keep growing fast. I think from a marketing perspective, they're going to find new and creative ways to engage people on their platforms. So I think it's a fascinating case study to watch. I think you've got your kind of tried and true brands that are either in sport or sport adjacent or involved in some way. Like I think about Red Bull, just again, another case study of building a great marketing machine and a strong brand awareness. And then when I think about new startups, what's interesting in sport is it's so tightly networked and so interconnected. And so even though we think about this industry that has billions and billions of fans, and I'm in any given sport, we've got a population of billions we want to reach. But really, the number of teams, it's only 32 NFL teams. And so the number of decision makers, the heads of marketing, the heads of sponsorship, the heads of commercial, there's 32 of them, right? And so the brands that are partnering with those teams, working with those teams are, I think the ones that are going to win are the ones that are taking a relational, networked approach to our industry and really, really mapping out the leadership structure of sports and building deep relationships. I think it's an industry that rewards that as opposed to one that rewards more kind of transactional, fast deal here, fast deal there, temporary, transitory. Um, Sports rewards long-term partnership and real investment and relationship.
And really, they all just want Taylor Swift at the game.
Well, that's the easy path, right? There's always that.
Exactly. But I do love the younger female generation that is being exposed to sports with that is significant. And
Taylor Swift's a great crossover, and crossover is probably not even the right word, but she's brought a lot of new people to the game that maybe wouldn't have had their eyeballs on it otherwise. But you're also seeing that in really the media environment in general, right? In the same way that news media over the past couple decades has fragmented from your traditional network news to all kinds of podcasts and radio stations and whatever else, newspapers, online outlets. The same thing's happening in sports where, yes, ESPN and Fox and the big players or CBS Sports are still there and prominent, but you also have Barstool and Front Office Sports and SBJ and all these other interesting outlets that are bringing either segments or niches of the industry to the forefront. You're also seeing it with distribution patterns, YouTube, Twitch, Snapchat, TikTok. You're seeing Apple and Amazon get involved in broadcasting deals, right? And that's all, I think all of that, we could do a whole deep dive on what that means for the business of sport. But what it means for the fan is that we're being more inclusive. We're getting more people involved that wouldn't have watched on a traditional network in the past. Now they're watching on Twitch and they're really engaged in NBA 2K. And that's great.
Twitch and Barstool are two of my favorites. Love them. Yep. It's great. Thank you so much. I love this. I think that there is a whole world out there of sports marketing that people should be paying attention to that maybe they just have not kind of woken up to yet, particularly to your point in your company of this technology. People need to be paying attention to it for sure. If you don't know about Teamworks, go check it out. And I think that we'll be seeing a whole lot more of it. So, Mitch, I'm grateful for your time today, for your insight. And when you are in Richmond next, please come by and see us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. I could talk about this stuff all day, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of the great work the King Agency is doing. As you partner with teams that I've worked with in the past, and I'll be seeing your commercials, your ads, your ways of connecting with fans, with other populations. I'm excited about that. So thank you for the work you do, and thanks for having me.
I love it. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Bye.
Leslie.